What would you do if a teenager vanished after saying goodbye at a bus stop, and the only clue left behind was a quiet, eerie emergency call? Nobody fully understood at first. Today on True Crime Decoded, we're diving into the heartbreaking case of Hannah Foster, a case that began as a missing person report and slowly revealed something far darker. If you're new here, welcome to True Crime Decoded. And if you enjoy carefully told true crime stories, please like this video, subscribe to True Crime Decoded, and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. While you're watching, share your theories in the comments. What stands out to you most in this investigation? Hannah Claire Foster was born on August 31, 1985, and grew up in Southampton, England, with her parents, Trevor and Hilary, and her youngest sister, Sarah. By all accounts, she was a dedicated student with a clear plan for her future, and she was preparing to study medicine. Her family described her as focused, ambitious, and unusually committed for someone her age. That makes what happened on March 14, 2003, even more devastating. Hannah was only 17 years old when she decided to take a break from studying and spend time with her friend Helen. That evening, Hannah and Helen went out for food and drinks at a local bar. Around 10:40 p.m., they left together, and CCTV later captured them walking down the street. According to the events, they eventually reached a bus stop, where Helen waited for her ride home. Hannah decided to walk instead, since her home was only about a kilometer away. Then the bus arrived. The girls said goodbye. It would be the last time Hannah was seen alive. By the early hours of March 15, 2003, Hannah still had not returned home, which immediately worried her parents. This was not like her. If she stayed elsewhere, she normally let them know. They called and texted her, but she never answered. By 10:30 a.m., Trevor and Hilary went to the police. They had already spoken to Helen, who told them what happened, and officers quickly treated the disappearance as urgent because Hannah was still a minor. Her behavior that night was completely out of character. Naturally, police first focused on the last person to see her alive. Helen was interviewed, but CCTV matched her account, and she was cleared of suspicion. At that point, investigators turned to Hannah's phone, which was still switched on through the night and into the early morning. That detail would become one of the most important pieces of the entire case. Police obtained her call and message records and began tracking which cell towers her phone connected to. This allowed them to map her movements as the phone traveled across the area. One detail immediately stood out. Hannah's phone registered an outgoing call to the emergency services around the time she disappeared. That call was logged as a silent call. The operator answered and heard nothing. She asked the caller to press a key if assistance was needed, but no one responded, so the call was ended. At first, it seemed like another frustrating dead end. Then technicians listened more closely. When police increased the audio, they could hear a girl's voice in the background, apparently speaking to a man. The recording was never officially released, but according to the transcript described in the media, the voice sounded frightened and guarded. Investigators believed Hannah had not spoken directly into the phone. Instead, it may have been in her pocket, bag, or backpack, which explained why the call sounded so faint. From the caller's voice and accent, police believed they were dealing with an older South Asian man. That was still a broad description, but it was enough to widen the search. And then the phone led them somewhere else entirely.
Using the phone's location history, officers determined that Hannah's device had traveled to Portsmouth, roughly 30 kilometers from where she was last seen. After several hours of searching, police found her phone and handbag at a waste collection site. By then, the worst fears were setting in. On March 16, 2003, Hannah Foster's body was discovered in a rural area. Authorities had already launched a major search operation, but the discovery confirmed that this was no longer a missing person case. It was now a murder investigation. Forensic examination showed that Hannah had died from strangulation. She also had injuries consistent with a struggle, including scratches and bruising. Investigators further concluded that she had been sexually assaulted, and DNA evidence from seminal fluid was collected from her body. Police entered the DNA into their offender database, but there was no match. So the hunt continued. Investigators then went back to CCTV. They reviewed enormous amounts of footage along the route suggested by Hannah's phone records and noticed something alarming. A white van appeared repeatedly near the relevant locations. Police publicly described the suspect as a man between roughly 35 and 40 years old, likely from South Asia, and possibly living near the area where Hannah's body was found. They believed he may have known the route well enough to dispose of her belongings at the waste collection point. Soon after, they identified a possible suspect, Maninder Pal Singh Kohli, an Indian-born father of two who lived in England and worked for a delivery company. He used a white van for work and personal travel, and his route matched several of the locations tied to Hannah's phone. His manager contacted police after noticing that, the day after Hannah vanished, Kohli showed up to work nervous and with a scratch on his face. That scratch mattered. Kohli had no criminal record, and by all outward appearances he seemed like an ordinary family man. He was married, had children, and was not the type of suspect police had originally expected. But the evidence began to add up. With a search warrant, officers examined the van. Inside, they found blood and semen that matched the DNA taken from Hannah's body. That was the break investigators needed. Kohli quickly became the main suspect. But then he disappeared. On March 19, 2003, police went to Kohli's home to question him, only to learn that he was already gone. He had left for India the previous day, telling his wife he was visiting his dying mother. Authorities feared he had fled the country to avoid arrest. His brother, who worked in law enforcement in India, only made matters more complicated. For a time, police could not get a clear answer about Kohli's location. Meanwhile, his family publicly defended him. His father said that if his son was guilty, he should face punishment. His brother insisted he was innocent and claimed the case against him was built on a mistake. The victim's family, desperate for answers, eventually traveled to India themselves. They gave interviews, distributed flyers, and offered a reward for information. It was a painful and exhausting fight. Then a taxi driver came forward and said he had given a ride to a man who looked like Kohli, and that the man had used the name Mike. Even then, the trail was still not enough to bring him back immediately. Years passed. Kohli remained in India, and the legal process dragged on with more than 100 court hearings and dozens of appeals. It became a prolonged international battle over extradition, with Kohli's supporters continuing to argue that he had been wrongly accused. Then, in a surprising twist, Kohli gave a televised confession in India. He admitted that he had raped and killed Hannah, saying he had not originally planned to kill her but panicked when she threatened to report him. Even with that confession, the legal process did not end quickly. It was not until 2007 that Kohli was finally extradited to the United Kingdom. He arrived in July and was arrested. He pleaded not guilty at trial, and his account changed several times. At first, he claimed he found Hannah's body and dumped it in panic. Later, he said that other criminals had forced him to commit the crime. Neither version matched the evidence. The CCTV timeline, the phone data, the witness accounts, and the DNA all pointed in the same direction. Prosecutors argued that Hannah had sensed danger and used the emergency number before she was fully taken. Because the call was so quiet, they believed her phone may have been hidden in her bag or pocket, which also explained why the operator heard almost nothing. According to the prosecution's theory, Kohli encountered Hannah while she was walking alone, forced her into his van, assaulted her, killed her, and then discarded her body and belongings in different locations to make the investigation harder. They believed he returned to work and then fled to India once he realized the police were closing in. In November 2008, the jury found Kohli guilty of kidnapping, rape, and murder. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 24 years. For Hannah's family, the conviction brought justice, but not peace. Nothing could undo the loss of a promising 17-year-old girl whose life was taken just as her future was beginning. This case also showed how one tiny detail, a barely audible emergency call, can become the key to solving a murder. It was a reminder that persistence, digital evidence, and forensic work can expose the truth even when a suspect tries to disappear. What do you think about the outcome of this case? Do you think justice was fully served? Thank you for watching True Crime Decoded. If this story gripped you, please like the video, subscribe to True Crime Decoded, and turn on notifications. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. We'll be back soon to decode another case.